Be louder.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Hello, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
You're not loud enough.
Hello, am I audible now?
Okay, please go ahead. Let's have.
Good morning, everyone. I, Mrs. Vinny Sharma, Assistant Professor and Program Coordinator for Virtual Nodal Center, Smart India Hackathon 2020, welcomes you all in the inaugural ceremony of Virtual Nodal Center, Galgotias University for Smart India Hackathon. Before we begin, we have a small invocation video to share with all of you. I hope you all must have enjoyed the brief introduction of our university. It's our pleasure to have all of you here. Today is an historic day which marks the beginning of the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2020 SIH. SIH is a nodal initiative of Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Government of India. Smart India Hackathon is a nationwide initiative to provide students with a platform to solve some of the pressing issues of our daily lives. Thus, to inoculate a culture of product innovation and a mindset of problem solving. The first three editions of SIH, SIH 2017, SIH 2018, and SIH 2019 proved to be extremely successful in promoting innovation of out-of-the-box thinking in young minds, especially the engineering students from all across the country. It gives me immense pleasure to share with you all that our university is one of the 40 academic organizations chosen to be Virtual Nodal Center for SIH 2020 from all across the country. In this three-day grand finale, we are hosting 22 teams with 132 participants in total and 25 evaluators from all over the country. Our chief guest is the co-founder of 5F World One Kazoom and is an alumni of Harvard Business School and has a unique 5F approach of working. I thank Dr. Ganesh Natarajan for graciously accepting our invitation for today's ceremony. Thank you, sir, for joining us here today. We also have amongst us our Honorable CEO, sir, Mr. Dhruv Galgotia, and our Honorable VC ma'am, Professor Dr. Preeti Bajaj. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us today. I now request our beloved Vice Chancellor, ma'am, Professor Dr. Preeti Bajaj, to please share the welcome address and introduce our guest of the day.
Thank you, Vinny. So, Ganesh, welcome to Galgotias. It's my pride privilege to introduce Ganesh, long-time acquaintance, friend, mentor, to whom I closely follow. As Vinny has said, so Dr. Ganesh Natarajan, co-founder 5F World I called him and I thank him for accepting our invitation, and that too short time. So the whole world is online. So the acceptance and invitation all was online itself. And he was kind enough to accept in spite of his busy schedule. So Ganesh is chairman of Skill Alpha, Pune City Connect, Social Venture Partners India, and a co-founder and chairman of GTT Global Talent Track. He also co-founded two Indo-US JVs, Kulsum Advisors and Center for AI and Advanced Analytics. He is Distinguished Alumnus Award winner of IIT Bombay and NITI. Dr. Ganesh success stories precede him, especially Aptech from 1991 to 2001. We all know about Aptech. And then second company, which is Zensar Technologies. So Zensar from 2001 to 2016. Zensar is in the last 5 years had CAGR market value growth of 44% annually, which is a record in the industry. He is also independent director on boards of State Bank of India, Principal Assets Management, Hinduja Global Services, LHI Digital, Educate Girls, iCrowd, AVPN, and SVP International. Dr. Ganesh is an esteemed member of Chairman's Council of NASSCOM and the National Council of All India Management Association. He has been chairman of NASSCOM and NASSCOM Foundation, president of HBS Club of India, and served multiple terms on the National Council of CII. Dr. Ganesh did his bachelor's from BITS Mishra, PG from NITI, and completed his PhD from IIT Bombay. He is alumnus of Harvard Business School, and he has authored 4 books on business process re-engineering, knowledge management, and his other publications are on IT industries. Inspired Leadership of Gen Y. His book Startup to Global Success, published by Sage Chronicles, and The Success Story of Zensar. Dr. Ganesh specializes in the leading team and building businesses, and his 5F approach of fast, focus, flexible, friendly, and fun has always produced fruitful results. Sir, I cannot think of really anybody else who can encourage the young minds, and especially the students who are participating pan-India for this one of the world's one of the largest hackathon. It started 4 years back by MHRD, involving all engineering students right from first year to final year, pan-India, coming together, having multiple rounds of shortlisting, and then finally taking them to grand finale. If because of this epidemic, we are here through online. So innovation is involved even at the organizers level, taking complete process from offline to online. And wherein all participants, like this is one of the center amongst 40 centers identified by MHRD, even identification of center was done, wherein all the complete SOP was designed. And after selection of center, we never knew that these 132 participants will be in 132 cities. They will come together, they will come out with the, they will provide the solution. The problem statements all are from, industries or ministries. So this is one of the key mission which is being identified by Honorable Prime Minister, that yes, young students, the age is no bar, their education is no bar, but they can also participate in nation building. They can identify and solve the live problems which are being faced by the ministries. We have been given the problem statements from MP government. And tomorrow, in fact, the DGP himself is involved in identification of problem and then how the solutions are going to be. So none other than, when you have nurtured the startups, one who is involved in supporting the startups, he is there to motivate the students at inaugural. So welcome Ganesh once again on behalf of university, my personal behalf. And before I invite you for your keynote, I would like to thank AICTE, Dr. Sahasrabuddhe, Dr. Abhay Jere, Dr. Mohit, Mr. Ajay, Sachin, and the complete team of MHRD and MIC who have given us opportunity to host this Smart India Hackathon grand finale. Ganesh.
Thank you very much and a very good morning to all of you. And I'm indebted to Dr. Preeti Bajaj, whom I know from her previous avatar in Nagpur. And it has been wonderful to watch her career and to see, I'm sure all of you in Galgotias are blessed that you have such a strong academic leader to lead your community and to take you forward. Also, thank you to the founders of Galgotia University. I think what you're doing for the country, especially with this hackathon, is clearly something that is going to be good for not only the Galgotia students, but for students around the country, around the world, which is excellent. I believe that what we are doing in India is quite path-breaking because the kind of progress we are making in digital is unparalleled. As all of you know, I come from the IT services and software industry. And even there, I remember 30 years back when we started, it was hardly a 10 crore industry with maybe one or two companies, TCS and Wipro and Infosys. And today, look at where we have reached. It's $160 billion, 43 lakh people are employed. And in fact, we're now giving indirect livelihoods to what? 2.5, 3 crore people. And that is the kind of innovation, not only in terms of products and services, but in terms of processes and business models that we have to continue to see happen. So I've been involved over the last few years with many, many entities, particularly the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Recently, we hosted a hackathon, which was also partnered by the government of Estonia in Europe. And we had multiple, almost 3,000 students from around the world collaborating across geographies through various media and coming up with solutions for COVID. So we had all kinds of solutions, right from robotics to artificial intelligence to new solutions. And I was delighted to participate in that. And I'm equally delighted that people like you are really making this happen today. So I thought I'll just take maybe 8-9 minutes to share with you what I think are the opportunities. In fact, if you look at a project that we did, not really a project, but a forecast we did some years ago, that was for the $1 trillion Digital India. All of you would have heard Prime Minister Modi talking about the $5 trillion GDP, that the economy that we are trying to build. Obviously, because of the global recession and COVID and so many other issues, it's difficult to set a date for it. And it may be 2024, which is what our ambition is, but it may be later. It doesn't matter. The pathways to high growth economy is what our country needs, all our countrymen need. The 300 million or so who are poor people will definitely need it. And I think we need to make that happen. What is interesting, which I want to talk about, and the opportunity for all of you, is $1 trillion of that, which is what we call $1 trillion Digital India. I had the privilege of working with the ministry and with McKinsey, who were tasked with creating the vision for the $1 trillion Digital India. And if you look at the $1 trillion, it's not just the $160 billion industry I spoke about becoming $1 trillion. That's not conceivable by 2025. So maybe the $160 billion industry, which includes IT and business process outsourcing, digital payments, e-commerce, electronics manufacturing, that can potentially grow to anywhere from 410 to 510 billion. In the same period, the new and emerging ecosystem, the whole gamut of the whole digitally enabled services, and I'll talk about those, can go much higher. It can go to 385 to 505 billion. And this 500 billion on the enabled side and 500 billion on the industry side is what creates the $1 trillion digital economy. So what are the 9 components of Digital India? And I'm telling you this so that some of the students will have opportunities to explore in each of these 9 areas. The first, of course, is infrastructure and software. The government has been talking, both the previous government and this one, about the BharatNet. BharatNet is nothing but a national optical fiber network, which will connect up not only the main cities, but potentially even the 250,000 gram panchayats, the 600,000 villages through common service centers. And this is something that is essential for every part of India to be able to successfully participate in the global changes we are seeing. The second, of course, is Make in India, which is actually not just Make in India, but today it's Make for India, domestic consumption, Make for the world. All these are going to be important components. And this is clearly going to happen because of, I think, 2 or 3 segments that will become important. Electronics, of course, I think the opportunity in electronics and defense electronics manufacturing is going to be huge. It's also going to happen through digital supply chains, because today supply chains are artificial intelligence enabled. We are really seeing major connectivity in logistics happening, and that's going to be important. The third big contribution of digital will be IoT. or the Internet of Things, which will enable data to flow from literally every appliance, every part of the world through wearable computing, even from each one of us. And this can connect up all of us and make sure that even rural India is able to contribute. The third aspect, or the third priority area for Digital India, is agriculture, because doubling farmer incomes is an imperative for all of us. Any of you who come from rural families will realize that the land holding of our farmers is so small that farmers tend to be in poverty a lot of the time. And we need to ensure that there are better productivity methods, precision know-how that is shared from the best in the world to our farmers in every part of India, build marketplaces where the best price can be acquired for the produce. And these are digital marketplaces, which can again be accessed through Digital India. The fourth is what we see as next generation financial services. We are in India extremely proud of what we have done, which is the JAM Trinity, which you may have heard of, which is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, and mobility. And this has enabled us to actually create something called UPI, or the India Stack, which a lot of people are using today. But in the next avatar of, I think, the India Stack, we will find blockchains, which is very much an integral part of digital. Blockchains will connect up various constituents, make sure that contracting across people is extremely friction-free, and that's going to be important. We'll also find a concept called flow-based lending, which is lending happens as part of the flow and not based on some contracts where somebody has to be paid, etc., etc. So everything will be autonomous and synchronous along with digital technology. The fifth one is, of course, healthcare for all. Today, healthcare is getting much more focus, unfortunately, thanks to COVID. But even otherwise, I think having a national register of medical records so that anybody can go anywhere and get treated, I think that's going to be extremely important. We're already seeing in India, thanks to the onslaught of COVID, that areas like robotics, for instance, telemedicine, where diagnostics can happen from anywhere in the country. You can go to the best expert and get your ailment treated, for instance. And I think 3D printing, where actually even tools can be printed or spares can be printed for hospitals anywhere in the field. So all this is going to be great evolutions of digital India. The sixth is energy for all. Today, we are still an energy deprived country. We still import a lot of oil, but eventually I think grid automation, or all the grids, including for alternative energy sources, automation and balancing of the grid, creating energy marketplaces where even somebody with a captive power plant can contribute to the marketplace and get credits for that. So all this is going to be what I think we will see. So these are the six core areas of Digital India, the way we see it emerging. It's also important that the government participates. I'm delighted that the MP government is supporting your initiative. In fact, Shivraji Chauhanji has been a very, very good friend for a very, very long time. And I think people like the CM and the Prime Minister, of course, are real contributors to make this happen. And if you look at e-government, I think the e-government of the future will be not only urban governance, which is happening through the Smart Cities mission, which has really taken off in the country, but also common service centers. I mentioned that earlier. So every part of rural India has access to the internet, is able to engage, is able to collaborate, and it is productive. This is much more important, we will realize, because unfortunately, because of COVID, a lot of people left big cities and what we call the migrant worker problem happened. But imagine if each one of our people, as indeed Prime Minister is saying, can get jobs either in the city or where they live, it will actually create a concept of reverse urbanization, which I would like some of you to focus on even in your hackathon, to say how can we support reverse urbanization by giving people productive livelihoods wherever they want to be. That is the success of America. It has to be the success of India. The eighth and ninth, I think, are the two most critical ones for our discussion. Jobs and skills for the future. All of you know that the jobs that were created maybe 10, 20 years back in this country, whether it was in IT or in manufacturing or in financial services, those jobs are going to be taken away by robotics and automation. So the jobs of the future are going to be very, very different, whether in rural India or in urban India. And I think all of you must think about what is the kind of jobs you want in the future. To give you one example, one of the big jobs that are going to emerge in the future is audiovisual capability. Sound technicians, people who can use digital media and make the whole concept much more engaging. And even the skills mission, which was initially not a very great success, today will succeed because of the use of very, very intelligent artificial intelligence enabled platform. So I think jobs of the future will be through platforms, will be through completely new areas, and especially the students participating in this and the members of the faculty we'll have to be very conscious that things will change very, very fast. And we have to be prepared for those new jobs. And last but not the least is high quality education. I think we're all delighted with the new education policy that was announced 2 days ago. It opens up a plethora of opportunities for Galgotia, for other national, global universities. It opens up the opportunities for students to really do a liberal arts kind of education where they can learn multiple skills as they go along, which is what is required for the future. And most important, I think the stress is on educational platforms. Many of us have dabbled with e-learning in the past and not been successful. Even the MOOCs have not really been very, very successful because course completion rates have been less than 10%. So today, if you look at the platforms of the future, in fact, we ourselves are working with Pune University and quite a few others to really reimagine the learning of the future. And that's going to be through career-focused discussions, artificial intelligence bots. It's going to use a lot of management of skills and not just giving the skills, personalized adaptive learning. It's going to be through enabling something which only happens in university campuses today to happen on the internet, which is peer group learning. How do you learn from other students in the class without going to a class? How do you find mentors amongst the faculty and from industry and integrate that into the learning process? I'm sure progressive universities like Galgotias are already thinking about this, but I think reimagining the future of education is going to differentiate the winners from the also-rans. And finally, of course, I think you will see more and more public digital platforms emerging. I talked about UPI and the India Stack, but whether it's in health, whether it's in agriculture, whether it is in management of the Make in India program, you will see a lot of this happen. So again, let me conclude by saying I'm truly delighted to be here, and thank you, Preeti, for inviting me. And it's always exciting to see young students from Galgotia, from all over the country, making change happen on a very rapid manner. And our future belongs to all of you. And if you can come up with great ideas, if you can participate in the execution of those ideas, we will truly build not only digital India, but the India of our dreams. So thank you very much and all the very best for this event and for your careers in future.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you so much. It's always enlightening. I would, dear audience, Ganesh has expressed like he always wanted to interact with students and staff. So he wanted to keep his talk very short, but you must have visualized he has covered everything within his 10 minutes short talk. I really correlate whatever you have said with the new education policy, Ganesh, which is really based on skills rather than, formal education and conventional education, I would say, which was taking place so far. The areas which I keeps on telling, yes, you have highlighted the healthcare, electronics, agriculture. So and some technologies as well, which is going to dominate probably next decade or couple of years at least. Reverse urbanization, I really like this word, that yes, this is going to happen and that is the success. I just have first question. During COVID time, we realized our 15,000 students, 14,000 something students were in 14,000 cities or town, villages. All 800 teachers were in 800 places, and still online. We were the first to start with online teaching within a day, at least in NCR. Now we realized when you are talking about BharatNet. We realized the students had issues because many of the students, everybody do not have laptop, everybody do not have smartphone. So we talked about online teaching learning, but there were difficulties. We talked about internet, which has reached. So how, what is your personal opinion when really this BharatNet can be achieved so that each and every, at least larger part of India gets covered? So if you are being at so many committees, and then you can see the India from top view, I would say the bird's eye view is with you. So how would be this seen, and how long it would take to really accomplish BharatNet?
Well, that's a very good question, Preeti. And honestly, nobody has a good answer to that. But I think we have to do it in phases. It's nice to say that, look, every village in India will have 300 Mbps bandwidth. I mean, that is obviously ideal. But as a very first stage, in fact, I was doing a session in Kerala just about 2 months back, again on Zoom. And somebody said, sir, you're talking about BharatNet. Kerala is already ready because every village in Kerala has good internet bandwidth. So why can't we take all the people who are coming back from the Gulf because of COVID and give them jobs there? Absolutely, you can do that. I was doing a similar session for the local management association in Guwahati. The same question came up. So absolutely we can do that. The way to do that, and I think government is conscious of that. MP, for instance, I know how many of you are aware, MP was actually the first state, and I'm talking about like 15 years ago, to build this complete MP Online. And MP Online even today is a role model of how you can spread online access across the state. But I think these opportunities are there. We have to cover, as I said, the 250,000 gram panchayats, because each panchayat, remember, covers about 3 or 4 villages. And even if the students have to come to the gram panchayat office, at least there's something better than nothing. So we have to make, I mean, we're a poor country, obviously made poorer because of COVID. So it's not going to take some time for us to recover. But I think all of us have to do our bit. In fact, I'm now supporting a company in Chennai called SP Robotics, which is trying to create a 6,000 rupee access device. So you don't need an expensive smartphone, but that access device can download all your lessons. It can also give you Zoom access. So I think these kind of innovations will have to happen. I'm hopeful because India is full of, I would hate to use the word jugaad. I hate jugaad, but India is full of rural innovation, low cost innovation, and hopefully that will bring the country. I mean, as my other guru, Dr. Mashelkar says,
Yes.
he calls himself a dangerous optimist. I'm not a dangerous optimist, but I'm an India optimist. But I really believe India has the ability, the imperative to succeed, and we will make it happen.
Thank you so much. I really admire and always followed Mashelkar ji as well. So Mashelkar sir, I also remember his word when you have reminded. So inclusive innovation and social innovation. So yes, India can transform through that only. I also support fully. We should not call it as an, we feel the jugaad is not a really word, but then everybody has a unique mind and people will come forward. MP Online was not known to me, but I still remember the word. When 2001, I started working on a project to link Kashmir to Kanyakumari. That was Vajpayee's tenure. I still remember in 2003 when I was working. So it was long time vision of India to connect and to bring, but then probably, yes, it's a slow progress, but I'm sure we will achieve one day BharatNet and everybody would be online. So yes. There are a couple of questions, Ganesh, for you. So there is a question by Hardik Darak. Sir, how soon do you think will experimental and experience-based learning be a part of students' life aside from policies?
See, I think what you're saying is, I mean, something I alluded to, which is very important, absolutely. Because, see, all of us, I mean, as you heard in my introduction, I mean, I was living in a village in Bihar for the first 15 years of my life, then joined BIT Ranchi, Birla Institute of Technology. And in those days, BIT Mesra was not a great place. Okay. So I think the quality of education was okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it was great, but where we really learned was the confidence building, that experiential learning. I mean, just being around in the campus, working with the nearby villagers, doing low-cost automation. All this is what made me a good mechanical engineer, which is why I went on to do industrial engineering. And then I started thinking about the dissemination of knowledge in the community, which is why I did my PhD in knowledge management. And in all this, my feeling is it's a combination of conceptual learning and experiential learning, which is going to make a great student happen. And which is why I said it's extremely important. I'm really, really worried about this obsession with e-learning. Okay, maybe it's required because of COVID, but the future is blended learning. And I've done a lot of research on this, so forgive some theoretical jargon. But the ultimate future of digital learning is, as I said, interacting with the student, understanding what that student's capability are. And every student wants to be, let's say, an aeronautical engineer. But maybe the aptitude can be tested by the artificial intelligence. You can find out what is the person good for. And then moving to what I call prerequisite learning, which can be done on computers. Then the actual core content, I think, has to be by discussion. If you look at Cambridge University, where my daughter studied in UK, they have lectures with lecture halls full of 350 people. And my daughter used to say that, look, in spite of being in Cambridge, most people used to bunk the lecture because the lecture would be anyway available on video. But where they really learned was in these little 8, 10 people tutorials, where they had somebody actually sitting with them, discussing the concept. That is where their cognitive thinking or their ability to analyze really built up. And this is what we have to do. So we have to convert our university campuses into discussion groups where people are really experimenting. Leave the prerequisite, leave the remedial, leave the post learning to the computer. So if you think through, that's why I said reimagine learning. So if you reimagine learning, you'll be able to combine the experiential with the conceptual and really build better citizens in the future. Sorry for being very theoretical, but this is, as you can see, this is my favorite subject of research as well as the kind of innovation we are doing today.
So thank you so much for elaboration, because that's will connect my teachers. Another question, which is again will be favorite, but we will catch you for that in a separate lecture. But then, Dr. Avdesh has asked how long it would take to recognize a startup is valid. So that's again one of the area wherein you can have a long day lecture, but still just in short, if you want to, reply this, how to recognize a startup to be a valid startup?
There is no such thing, Dr. Avdesh, because I'm currently working with, across various investments I've made, there are almost 42 startups we are supporting at this point of time. Can I say for sure that this startup will be successful? No. Do I have an instinct that the potential for success is there? Yes. Because I think there are 3 things you have to look for in a startup. One is, of course, the strength of the idea. Unfortunately, many of the successful startups in our country, whether you look at Oyo Rooms or whether you look at Flipkart, are what we call copycat startups. Okay, there was a great model in the US. We implemented it for India, did some modification. Nothing wrong with that. You make money. That's who's arguing with the amount of money the Bansal brothers have made. So nothing wrong with that. But the real future of India is going to be when you have great disruptive ideas. Hopefully, some of those will come through this hackathon. Then how effectively you assemble a team. The classic case study we used to learn in Harvard was eBay. eBay was started by this gentleman called Pierre Omidyar. And Pierre Omidyar at some point of time decided that, look, he is not a person to grow organizations, but he's a great creative thinker. So he got in Meg from Harvard Business School. She became the CEO and she built the company. So this combination is extremely important. Today you look at Apple. Steve Jobs was phenomenal as an innovator. But today, if you look at what Jim Cook is doing, I think he's actually built a $59 billion enterprise. And so I think he needs different members of the team with complementary skills to make that happen. And third, which all Indians forget, is you need a runway of capital. All of us, go and borrow 20 lakh rupees from maybe our brothers or our fathers-in-law. Never borrow money from your father-in-law, but that's a different story. But because of that, what happens is you run out of money very quickly. You can't ask for more money from them. So you're not planned your capital run. So today there are almost 7 stages of capital, and I won't get into that. But you need to plan every stage from angel investing to pre-series A to venture capital to going all the way. And I really find that, look, people who plan that way, they raise the capital. Why look at Byju's, for instance? Byju is a phenomenal success story of somebody who's raised capital constantly. Even today with billions of dollars in the bank, he still went out and raised a $23 billion round. That is what somebody is. On one side of your mind is always thinking about capital raising for the future. One side of your mind is looking at the best team, and I may not be the best team. I should build the best team. And third is the power of my idea, that my idea should always be better than competition. To do that, I think startups will be successful. And there's no other formula that I can give.
Thank you, Ganesh. It's so many questions I have. I will pass on some time to you. But since we have short of time, just to let you know, probably, I don't know whether I have shared. So the last venture which I have supported, so many startups inspired by you all. So Nidhi TBI we got in earlier organization, and that was for 14 crores for healthcare and digital technologies. And also we have established at Galgotias the Center of Excellence in AI. So we will connect to you outside this, online to have this and have a plan to set up online incubation center, because not because of COVID, but otherwise also. So best brains can mentor and then help the students as well. So it's all virtual community now. So we'll connect to you for this. But before I handing over this session to Vinny, I would like to congratulate and appreciate my team at Galgotias, Dr. Sansar, Dr. Katiyar, and all the jury members who have been involved since from different industries, and the senior team at Galgotias who have put in their efforts to shape this contest and to bring the success for the organization, because all the as per the instructions, and we have to provide all online support. And online support, still whatever we talked about, whatever technology we have, you never know when the technology is going to be failure and when what kind of problem is going to arise. So they are trying their best, and I'm sure my center would be one of the best center to be recognized by MHRD. Thank you so much, Ganesh. Over to you, Vinny.
Sir, for your kind and encouraging words. And I would like to say here that the need of humans is the mother of innovation. Once we have the need, we will definitely have certain innovations. And during your talk, I guess all of our participants have received a lot of new ideas for the upcoming hackathons also. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here. Now I request our meticulous planner, Professor Dr. Sansar Singh Chauhan, SPOC, to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir?
Thank you, ma'am. It gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks at this inaugural session of the Smart India Hackathon 2020, hosted by Virtual Nodal Center, Galgotias University. I express my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Chancellor, Sir, Mr. Sunil Galgotias, for providing us a platform to put our effort into action. I would like to extend my gratitude towards our Honorable CEO, Sir, Mr. Dhruv Galgotias, for his constant guidance and support. My earnest thank is for our beloved Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Professor Dr. Preeti Bajaj, for her constant guidance, support, and input. Ma'am, without them, the success of the event would not have been this huge. My heartfelt thanks goes to our chief guest, Dr. Ganesh Natarajan, co-founder, 5F Ward 1, to grace the occasion. Thank you, sir. Your word of wisdom and encouragement will surely boost up the confidence and morale of our young participants. I am highly obliged to Professor Dr. Anil D. Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman AICT, for believing in us and granting this opportunity. My heartful gratitude for Dr. Abhay Jera, Chief Innovation Officer, MHRD, Innovation Cell, for creating a healthy, competitive platform for the young innovators to compete. I'm also thankful to Dr. Mohit Gambhir, Director, MHRD, Innovation Cell, for his visionary idea of Smart India Hackathon 2020, which has brought together the higher education institutes and the young innovative participants. My wholehearted thanks to Mr. Ajay Singh Rajawat, Startup Fellow, MHRD, for his constant support and for being a round-the-clock guiding support for our team. I extend my thanks towards Ms. Varsha Sharma, who helped to check that we are moving in the right direction. I extend my thanks to Mr. Partish Patwardhan, SPOC MIC, to update us time to time all the updates which was given by the MHRD. We are highly obliged to Mr. Sachin Gaur from MIC for taking the time to conduct the valuable and instructive webinar throughout the preparation session. Sir, your hard work has now become a sweetened fruit in the form of SIS 2020 event. Thank you, sir. I convey my sincere thanks to the team of very motivated and dedicated fraternity member of the Galgotias University who knew their job and are result oriented. It's their hard work which has made this event a success. Thank you all. I would also like to thank people who give administrative and technical support. And lastly, I would like to thank all the participants of the event and wish them all a best of luck for the next 3 days. Dear participants, competition is always a good thing. It forces us to do our best. In this world, I once again wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants for being here at the inaugural session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ganesh, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It has been an honor to listen to you, sir. It is for the first time that I have got the opportunity to listen to a visionary, an entrepreneur, and a supportive, I must say that a huge supporter of startups all over the India. And so thank you so much for being here with us. We know that you are very busy, and taking out this 40 minutes for us has been very important for us, and definitely an encouraging 40 minutes for our students and faculty members. Now I request all the participants to kindly log into the Slack platform for next updates. I also request all of you to please join the SHI YouTube channel for the national inauguration ceremony that will be hosted by MHRD themselves. Also, if you want, you can join the ceremony using our official Galgotias University YouTube channel also. Also, dear participants, we are just one click away from all of you. You know that we are working on the public channel on the Slack with the hashtag Ask Us Anything. And also, we have shared with you the Google Meet link where you can join us, you can ask us your queries, and we are always there to help you out. Let us all join the MHRD now. The inaugural session will start at 9 a.m. on the YouTube channel. Thank you all. Namaste.
Congratulations, Dr. Sansar, Dr. Katiyar, and the whole team. Vinny, good. Thank you, Dr. Avdesh, for all the supports. Thank you all. And finally, inauguration is done. Now let's catch up the students and let's see how they are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a nice time.
Leave